Aloha everyone, Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. All right, there's a lot I want to discuss in this weekend's video lesson. We're going to go over the overall market environment. Then I want to go over my top current holdings, and I am shocked, but a lot are hitting new highs. I'm somehow almost 90% long in my end of day portfolio, despite all the market vacillations the past couple of months, few months actually. So what I want to really go over is the overall market and how it's pretty amazing that I'm this long still, especially with the recent new long positions that we received the last 3 sessions compared to where we just were and what we've gone through. And then after that, we're going to go through my top current holdings, and there are a lot of them because there's a lot that continue to work even during this portion, which is the main reason why it so quickly back to nearly fully invested. Then, just to show you that, hey, not everything works out, I had 2 end-of-day sell signals on Friday. We're going to go over both of those. And then I'm going to show you an actionable signal that you can take for the market session on Monday if it triggers. It has to trigger and execute, obviously, but we'll go over that. First off, I want to review the market and say that I'm actually quite impressed that we have fought off the trade war stuff, the news cycle, the way that we did. That being said, the 3 is above the 9. I have some green in my SPY, but my trusty time segment volume indicator that I have back tested extensively. Here's a monthly chart of it. It has been negative since September of 2018. And I will tell you guys, the best time to get long is when this indicator is in the green zone and the Madrid trend indicator is expanding with it. You can see that at times on a monthly basis, when it's in that green zone, these are when I can have full conviction and confidence behind long signals. And I have back tested this extensively on multiple various indices, and it works on all of them. So this is my main, this is not available in Telechart version 18 or version 7. The Madrid Trend Squeeze indicator, which is why I have to use TradingView.com. Also, I can't color code the background in Telechart like I can in TradingView. So this is the reason why I use these charts. But the monthly time frame on SPY has been poor for over a year. The weekly has been red since July of 2019. And as you can see on the SPY, we really have gone nowhere. So it's a very trusty indicator, and obviously each level supersedes the next. So the monthly supersedes the weekly supersedes the daily, and when they are all aligned, that's when I go nuts. So whenever we go through my top current holdings, you're going to probably wonder, how the hell are you long so many stocks? Well, on an end-of-day basis, I run a very large account. I live on Maui, and trust me, it's you don't want to talk about what you have on Maui. You like to keep things simple. So I don't want to divulge the account value, but it's very large. And even at 1% of my account value, paying $1 commissions at Interactive Brokers in and out works for me. So I can hold hundreds of stocks. If 100 plus stocks are working, I have the time. I live on Maui. There's a big time zone gap between me and New York, 6 hours. And that's an extra 6 hours that I have to manage positions end of day. But when things are lined up, green on the daily, green on the weekly, green on the monthly, that's when I look to put 5%, 10%, 15%, up to 20% of my account value into any one name. It's been forever since I've done 20%. 10% is about where it maxes out. But the ideal portfolio is 10 stocks, 10% of my account capital each. So if you're a new trader, this is where the sweet spot is. I recommend never owning more than 20 stocks if you're new, and if you own 20 stocks, it's got to be 5% of your portfolio in each name. 10 at 10% is the sweet spot. 5 stocks, 20% of your portfolio, if it's very small, is, that's being very aggressive. But in an era of $0 commissions, if you're cutting your losses, at least half of them at break even, this methodology is very powerful. The whole point to all of this is nothing is lined up on the monthly, weekly, daily time frame, and any of the major market indices, and yet here we are still at all-time highs. Granted, the weight of the evidence could change. We could roll over and go into a bear market. That's why I have good to cancel sell stops on all my positions. But if we don't, we break out and these indicators turn green. If this is what you're about to see in my top current holdings, if this is what's going on in a bad market, what the hell's going to happen in a good market? I think we can all use our imagination to figure that one out. So that's where the market stands. I also want to show you that with the leading index that I see right now is the semiconductor index, the SMH. Look at the daily. It's not lined up. Weekly, it's not lined up. Monthly, it's not lined up. And hey, if you don't think it doesn't work on this one, look at this uptrend. Look at this uptrend. Look at this uptrend. So it lines up, and even back here in 2003 to 2004. I mean, when it lines up, it's everything. It's everything. So just keep that in mind. We're not even lined up right now in the market. So if we break out, really good things could happen. That being said, with the indicators the way they are, expect more chop. Even if we break out, if we don't see volume pick up to the upside, it's not going to surprise me. And at the same time, market indices love to fill gaps unless they're breakaway gaps. And the odds that this is a breakaway gap is 0 to none because there was no volume surge anywhere across the entire market indices. Now the QQQ has come back to test that gap area, but I never feel secure in any indice that has an open gap until you at least test the top of the range. Preferably completely fill it. So we'll see what happens during next week, but that's where we stand in the overall market. Now it's time to look at two stocks that didn't work out and my top current holdings, and then show you a long position to take on Monday. All right, everyone. First things first. Out of the two failures, one was a hedge. On this session right here, DRV made a candle over candle on above average volume with green bop. I'll show you what the SPY was looking like then. Looked like it was trying to break down. So with DRV, I put on a hedge, got filled the next day. That hedge remained until it closes. Or with me, the website is tracked on an end-of-day basis. This website, bigwavetrading.com, is made for people that don't have a lot of time. I give you the exact stocks that I'm going to attempt to purchase the next day. I give you my good to cancel buy stop limit order and my initial good to cancel sell stop orders if that trade is executed. You can either cut your loss 100% at break even if you have $0 commissions, do 50% there and then 25% at each level. You can obey my levels or the first stop. Everyone's risk tolerance is different. But for me, I use good to cancel sell stop orders. So after I get filled on DRV, my one and only stop is at 26. When DRV trades through 26, that is it. I am out. And that happened on Friday, but it also happened to close below that 26 level. So on an end-of-day basis, it's time to cut your losses. For me, that was about a 5% loss. On an end-of-day basis, I round up with the losses, round down with the gains. That's a 7% loss. So keep that 7% loss in the back of your mind. The next name to fail on me, MANH. I'm pretty sure I went over this in one of the public YouTube videos that I didn't like this stock that I went long for a few reasons. I feel like that this is an earnings winner. This is a name I want to be long, but in this current market, this is what the SPY looked like that day. Kind of iffy, finding resistance at the 50-day moving average. I had a tough time buying MANH because there was no real volume surge. And even though we did get a BOP surge, the stock has a gap here, a gap window right there. The 50-day moving average is kind of curling lower, and it was extended from the 5, 10, and 20-day moving average. I kind of regretted taking it, but here's how I looked at it. If I don't take this stock and MANH zooms up 20% without me, I will be pissed. If I take this as a long position and have to cut my losses, no big deal. So the next day, MANH fills, but it reverses immediately on above average volume while losing green bop. I immediately consolidate my stops from this level here and this level here following initially getting filled to 50% there, 100% there. But when I made the long signal, this was the initial final stop. So it's not a 100% sell signal on an end-of-day basis till that stop is hit. Now, me with my stops, fortunately, right there with that move right there, I immediately split it up. 50% now was up here. The final half was here. Initially, it was here and here. I was splitting hairs. Now it's 50-50. And look what happens. This day right here, bam, taken out of Man H. I now no longer have a position in Man H. However, it's still above that final cut loss level, so Man H doesn't become a full sell signal on an end-of-day basis till then, and on an end-of-day tracking basis, that's an 8% loss. So remember that. We're looking at a 7% loss in DRV. We're looking at an 8% loss on MANH on an end-of-day basis if you use my website with day, market, buy, day, market, sell orders, because you don't have a lot of time, but you're looking to make money, more money than you can get via just a buy and hold methodology. And that's then what takes us to the top current holdings. So once again, I want to remind everybody, I hold a ton of positions on an end-of-day basis. To give you an example, or to juxtapose that, how I trade on an intraday basis, the most I will track on a watch list many different stocks, but the most amount of stocks that I can focus on intraday, looking at the 3-minute, 5-minute, 15-minute daily chart, or whatever variation of the charts that I have up, at max that I can watch closely is 4. That's max. The most stocks I can be long at any one time intraday is 2. You want to know why? Intraday trading is, for some odd reason, for 20 years, I decided to do the end-of-day stuff, but the returns and the signals intraday and the amount of money that can be made is mind-blowing, and it's much safer without the overnight news headline risk right now. But 2 is the most I can hold at any one time. 4 is the most I track. On an end-of-day basis, it can be hundreds. I have no issue with that. I operate like a computer. I adjust my stops and my limits every night. Sometimes it takes 2-3 hours, but this is what I love to do. I do it so you don't have to. You get my levels and you operate accordingly. Now that being said, let's go over some of the winning signals. MLSS, ignore this arrow here. This is from an earlier long signal that I was completely knocked out of. This is the real long signal right here for me. And I just want to show everybody what it was. The reversal hammer candle on heavier above average volume with max green bop. They don't all work, but when they work, pretty dang nice. What kind of return is that? 80% in a little over a month. This is a stock that I'm still currently long. Am I long all of it? No. I take profits on the way up. When it hit $1, I took profits. And now my final stop is just right here. I'm willing to let it go at break even on the final stop, but I have a stop here, and a stop here now. So I don't have 80% in the entire position still. Is it possible that you could still, if you were trading on a day market sell order basis? Absolutely. But MLSS is just one that's currently working. The white arrows, once again, this is wherever I went. This is where I went long. BLDP, this is where I went long. What was the signal? Candle over candle, heavier above average volume, pocket pivot point signal. I have that increasing bop. I get filled this day up and through the level, because once it pulls back in below 360, I get an alert in my system. I send in the order. Bam, I'm filled. So that's where I got filled on BLDP. And as you can see, minus an initial kind of shakeout move, which still held the initial stop, everything keeps working out. So with BLDP, you could even connect an uptrend line and stay long this stock until it closes below the uptrend line. But just to give you an example of the kind of gains that you can have from that entry on BLDP to now, 56% in a little over 5 months. Another winner. Did this pullback knock me out of half of it? Absolutely. When it pulled back below this low right here, I got knocked out of half. But still, my final stop was here. It holds this level. I'm still long. It continues just to trend higher, never knocking me completely out of BLDP. So do I have the entire position on? Once again, no. But this is the power of the system that I use on an end-of-day basis. And there's many more. It's hard to, we're going to have to try to make it a little bit faster, but plug, candle over candle. of heavier above average volume, pocket pivot point signal, increase in BOP, and plug has just worked and worked and worked. 34% gain in a little over 1 month. Not too bad considering what the market is doing. PLMR, I've reviewed this one before, so I'm not going to go into it, but look at it. It keeps working. 85% in 5 months. I've already done YouTube videos over PLMR already. A recent new long position, hence the white arrow being right there. There is the long signal on MDCO. MDCO barely qualified with above average volume, still having max green BOP. More importantly, it's in my perfect speculator scan. A lot of these come from this scan. It's a book by Brad Kodeshwar. Look up The Perfect Speculator by Brad Kodeshwar. I made a scan to that back in 2008. It continues to be my best scan on an end-of-day basis. But MDCO, this one's working out 18% in a little over 1 month. Hey, you want something slower, kind of more boring? INVH. Here's my long, I can't remember. Let me go back. Can review it really quick and find out which day. This was the long signal right here, the candle over candle, heavier above average volume with the max green BOP. Doesn't trigger this day, doesn't trigger that day, but the signal doesn't fail. Boom, triggered and filled on the 25th, and it's been smooth sailing since. Nothing really different there. 5% gain in a very short, about 1 month. So there's a more slow one for you. Here's another slow one that I'm still long. KNSL. There's the long signal, KNSL. Once again, perfect speculator scan. And if it's can slim quality, you know I'd love it. Great markets where my indicators are lined up. 5% of my capital goes into here. No questions asked. 10% if it's a really strong market. And if there's green all over this chart. By green, it's like what you saw with MDCO. But in this market, I just throw a 1% dart there. Because that 1% dart of mine, still a hefty amount. I'm only paying $1 in commissions to Interactive Brokers since I use their API. But it worked perfectly. You can see that it got filled the very next day. What it looks like, could have even have added to it. Probably was an ad signal. I don't know. I have to go review my records. But you can see KNSL, it's a 47% gain in an insurance stock in a little under 6 months. So we're going to run through the rest of these just to show you. You kind of get the idea. You can kind of see back here with the volume and everything. Not going to truncate anymore. 30%. And right a little under 7 months. It's another slow mover, ACGL. I'm sure it has a dividend. I really don't care. It's all end-of-day basis stuff. I'm not looking to have huge alpha on an end-of-day basis in the kind of market we're in. When things line up, I will. But right now, my focus is intraday on names like ATIS on Friday, HEPA on Thursday, and then BIMI, SCS, DTSS. These are the kind of stocks that I focus on intraday. And then anything that's moving like Beyond Meat and Roku, whatever. But MTH, here's another example, 16%, a little over 2 months. We're almost done here. ITRI, this is a can slim, perfect speculator one. Once again, was late adding the stock to my watch list. There's a 10% gain in about 2 months. There's another slow one. BLDR, this one I've added to. So I added to it here. I believe I added to it here. Missed this ad signal. So here's a recent. Seems like a chase signal, right? Hey, it's pretty extended. I'm chasing it. But this is a really nice chart. These things I really can see this stock really exploding higher. It's can slim and perfect speculator quality. Couldn't get filled. The high of the day is 2161. Look at what the low of the day is the next day. 2169. Never triggered my good to cancel buy stop limit order. Hasn't moved much. The order is still live on the books, but it won't be called back on and sent into the system until it trades back below this high of the day, and then I'll call it back on. But BLDR, 34% gain in a little over 3 months. I give these to you every evening before I set up the orders in Interactive Brokers. You can all front run me if you want. It's completely doable. OSMT, we reviewed this before, so I'm not going to waste any more time on it. 32% in a little over 1 month. And then the last one, I'll show you another slow one, REXR. Got to go back to check because I'm pretty sure it was this date, was the long signal based on the pocket pivot point signal, above average volume, and the green BOP. Slight increase. This definitely was the day. Got filled that session, so that is correct. Oh, okay, you're driving me crazy. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button, that's why. So REXR, another one that's just steadily trended higher. We'll go ahead and do it from that day there. 20% gain in 4 months in a slow-moving restock. So that's the power of the methodology that I use on an end-of-day basis. And in today's world, heck, if you take any of my new trade ideas and they're wrong, you can cut your losses at $0 by using a good to cancel sell stop order at your fill price. I do not recommend doing that, but in an era of no commissions, it's very well possible to never lose money again. Now, when I'm day trading, I got to give things room to work. And even with my end of day stuff, I'm confident with my stops. I think there was only one max loss trade this year for me, and there was only one max loss trade last year for me because I'm very careful buying into earnings. That being said, I did take a risk with one trade, and we'll see how that goes because it has a heavy short float. Looks like it's bottomed. I have a lot of signals, but there's earnings this week. Took the trade anyway. Has a 1.5% of my account capital in it, so, you know, there's always gray areas, right? But this is the long position I want to go over, CPRT. Now, you're going to notice here, I already have an uptrend line drawn for you. See that white arrow back there? CPRT is already a trade that I am in. This was the initial long position right here. CPRT, canceling quality. Notice the uptrend off the lows. Notice all the open bodies in the candles. Notice all the wicks in the candles. Consolidation, canceling quality. And I am 100% sure, definite, maybe not. This might not have qualified for my perfect speculator scan. Nope. So this one definitely was just canceling quality. Now it's perfect speculator and canceling quality. But this was the signal. Candle over candle, hammer off that recent support level, heavier above average volume, increase in green bop. Doesn't trigger the next day because the good to cancel buy stop limit orders at 58.33. But boom, triggers and fills that day. And CPRT, even in this market, has been an extremely amazing trender. Almost got shaken out of it here, but I did not, thank goodness. I kept looser stops. So even here, when it was at its lows, you can see here the low day 73.20, the low here 72.90. So it came very, very close because that's where my final stop was at the time, but it's kept me in since. CPRT is an official ad signal on my end. I've already sent in the order, but this is how my order is set up. So first off, let's go over the chart pattern. CPRT, candle over candle. Heavier above average volume, pocket pivot point signal, increase in BOP. Like I said, canceling quality. It's actually pre-perfect speculator scan quality. It was in my price volume BOP surge scan, which just looks for any kind of up move on above average volume by at least 1.5 times and then increasing BOP, normally to a green level. It's splitting hairs with being a green level, so that's why it qualifies for that scanner. This trade is set up good to cancel buy stop limit order 82.44. If it gaps up and opens at 82.50, the order is canceled, and I set an alert at 82.44 to alert me when the price comes down to it. I set this alert on trade ideas. When I get the alert on trade ideas, I then call back on the order at Interactive Brokers. I do not use Brokerage Plus right now, probably should. But I call back on the order at 82.44, and if it trades up and through it, I will be long. Now, I recommend, if you take this trade, to have 50% of your stops either right here or right here. Then you could have another 50% there, or you could have 50% here, 25% there, 25% there. Or you can have 100% right here. Or you could do 50% at break even, 50% here, or 50% at break even, 33%, 33%, 33% on the final half, or 50% at break even, 50% at this uptrend line. It's up to you. Everyone is different. This uptrend line is not to my liking. That's better. So everyone is different. This is what I'm going to do. I already have a position. This stop is still in the books, but if I get filled with this add signal, for me, it's going to be 33.3% there, 33.3% there, and 33.3% there. All right, everyone. That was another long weekend video lesson, but I wanted to go into more detail about how the methodology works. If you like the video, please give me a like, a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. If you want to become a member of the Big Wave Trading family where you get access to me 24/7 in the chat room. Listen, guys, I might live on Maui, but if I'm not surfing, I'm in front of my computers and terminals. I love this almost more than surfing, but not as much because I love day trading, but the time zone is horrific in Maui, but I can't move away from this place. Every time I think about going more east, like even to Costa Rica to surf and work on an East Coast time zone, I can't do it. Maui is home. So if you want to become a member of the Big Wave Trading family, to register, I'll have a link in the description below. But once again, thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, I know it's a long video, but I wanted to go over a lot of stuff. So we did that. Hopefully they're not this long in the future. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.